have an agricultural disaster because
Yeah, we
so
did.
many people up here depend on the grapes. And
Yeah,
everybody's grapes were pretty much wiped out
Yes, they
above the
were.
lake, beyond the lake.
Yep.
And it's going to be a tough year for farmers, grape farmers. And
Yes,
you
it
point
is.
out you have to still spend the money
Still
for
have to spend
fertilizer,
the
the
money.
weed control for the
Yep.
pruning. They don't prune the way I used to. When I was
No.
a kid, you went out and you knew just which bud to prune it on,
Yeah.
and then you had to tie them, and they were carefully
We
tied.
don't tie anymore.
None of that stuff. You take a big machine that has a flailing blade, run down the row, it cuts everything off, and they don't care what bud it is because it's cheaper than actually having somebody get the right bud, you know?
We don't mechanically prune, but a lot of people do it very,
Oh, yeah.
very successfully. But they still have to go through by hand and sort that out for those right buds, by the way.
Right, and some of them don't even tie anymore. They just
We don't tie.
No.
We have a no-tie system. 2 trunks come up, they're crossed in the middle, and then the cordon goes on the wire, and they hang down.
Right.
And it's a wire that's called a crimp wire. It's sort of like a spring, so when the weight of the crop gets on there, it pulls it down, and then when it's picked, it springs back up.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
The end posts are all anchored now. There's no more driving in the little stubs and the braces. They're all done with an anchor that screws right into the ground.
Okay, and also, again, there's no hand picking. I still remember
No, very little.
everybody had a bicycle, and they took the front end off and put a grape box on it.
Yep.
And you ran that down as you were picking like crazy, and you had to snip them.
Mm-hmm.
And every kid in town made a lot of money doing that, I might add, in the fall.
The girls all bought their prom dresses with the
Right.
tying in the spring, but
Right, and all
now
this
they
labor's
just
gone.
ask Daddy for the money.
All this labor's gone, it's just big machines.
Yep.
The day of the passing of the grape. My grandfather used to make elderberry wine down there. There were
I
elderberry
make
bushes
elderberry
everywhere.
wine. Oh, yes, and I make elderberry wine and elderberry syrup. Did you know elderberries have more antioxidants than any other fruit?
I don't even know what an antioxidant is. They tell you it prevents
helps
heart,
your-
it prevents
your
cancer.
it boosts your immune system.
It does everything for you. You'll become healthier, and you'll probably live to ripe old age if you have enough antioxidants, but I have no idea. And they tell you that about everything. You know, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, medium cholesterol. Nobody knows anything about this, for God's sake.
know.
All right, Gail Black talking to us about the farm.
Right.
Do you have any chickens or anything?
No chickens.
No chickens.
No animals, just a little dog and a cat. That's
Okay,
it.
well-
Lots of squirrels. We see them, deer,
Yeah.
a bear now and then, coyotes,
Okay.
rabbits, groundhogs.
Bears?
There was a bear killed in the road right between my house and KOA campground
Holy
about a
mackerel.
year ago.
I hope somebody grabbed it. Grabbed
Yeah,
body.
the man got it that hit it apparently.
Good, yeah, because
demolished his truck.
It makes a great bear rug anyway for
Mm-hmm.
this broken down truck. Deer, you had deer all over the
Oh
place.
dear,
down
I
there.
saw fawns the other day, little spotted
Oh,
ones.
really?
They're
Uh-huh.
lovely. Yep.
Yeah, this is the time of year for the deer. But there are more deer than ever before. I mean, there's
There's
less
quite a
and
few.
less hunting of deer.
Yep.
Mainly because the kids aren't being broken in like they used to be. And they prefer to play electronic games.
Well, the way I look at it, they
Mm-hmm.
eat some of the grapes. They eat part of my garden. I have a big garden. They eat my other fruit. So in the fall, I get one of them and eat it. And I
There you
think
go.
that's fair.
Do you go out and hunt yourself?
Yes, I do.
Do you get them
Yep.
on the property? Or do you?
Yep, I
Right.
do. I
You
do.
bag one right off the bat, huh?
Yes.
Well, you know, every deer has about 50 pounds of good venison in it, and that's a lot of good meat.
Well, some of them are up to 80 or 90.
So if you get a giant one, and if you
Yeah.
eat everything, some people don't, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a phone call. Let's take a caller here, huh? Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
Fine. What's up?
I was wondering if there was one place you could go get all sorts of information about Chautauqua County, or if you have to go around to different places.
Well,
Come to the Sugar Shack. I have a big rack and everything that I can possibly put in there, and I share it with every tourist that comes through the door, because the only way we're going to survive in Chautauqua County is that if we boost everyone else's business.
and
And
incidentally,
just because a tourist walks into my shop doesn't mean he's going to spend the last dollar on my syrup. He has more dollars in his pocket to spend on other things like museums and gift shops and restaurants
and the Fireman's Ox Roast.
all kinds of other things. So
Yeah.
every business, every tourist
Also-
business has information. I try to keep as much as I can.
Caller,
to
there's
give.
also an information booth right
Yes,
at
there
Barcelona
is.
Harbor in Reed Pier, right at the top. And if they want to go in there, they'll get the same information that Gail has.
And the
if
corner
you're-
store.
And if you're from out of state, is there like a website or something you can go to?
Yep.
I don't know.
Chautauqua County Vacation Bureau website has tons of information on it.
Just stick Chautauqua County Vacation Bureau into your,
Into your
Google, and away you go.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much.
Tour of Chautauqua.com
Yes,
also.
there you go. That's what it is.
There you go. A lot of information about Chautauqua. Well, you know, the wonderful thing is we have, in the fall, we have wonderful hunting here. The hunting is
yes.
great.
Yeah, hunting, fishing, yep.
And the fishing in the spring, summer, and fall, oh my gosh, and in the fall you can get all the fish you can carry down by Lake Erie in the streams there, because all the big trout and the salmon and everything all go flying up, and they'll eat anything that moves.
You know, we don't mention the trails either. But the trails that we have in Chautauqua County, they're used for snowmobiles in the winter, but you can hike on them in the summer.
Yeah.
And we have, for people who like the outdoors, there's horseback riding at Double Dab. And there's Panama Rocks with beautiful hiking. And I have a guided nature tour through the woods along the shoreline of Lake Erie with information about nature in our county. There's the Audubon and the Roger Tory Peterson Institute.
Next week we get the Audubon Society from the Peterson coming here.
Coming here.
They're going to come here and talk.
Very wonderful.
They're going to tweet.
Yep.
They're going to tweet.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Okay.
But those are all other resources we have here in the county that are not mentioned very often, but they're very important.
Right, and there's a lighthouse.
Oh, yes. 2 lighthouses.
The earliest gas-lit lighthouse in the United States is in Barcelona Harbor there, and still lit.
Yep, that's right.
I'm not sure how it's lit, but it's still lit.
I don't know either, but it's still lit.
Maybe they have one of those little
I don't think they still have the old log pipeline from Ottaway Creek, where you used to break the bottom out of the bottles.
That's right. And you, in a shallow area, you could just stick it down and light it up. And as John says, don't
try that. Don't eat any mushrooms unless you know what you're doing.
For God's sake, don't pick and eat mushrooms unless you know exactly what they are, first name and last.
That's right.
Okay. The wonderful thing about the county is there is something for everybody up here. And as you pointed, the trails, Rails to Trails, which Dr. Burke was quite involved in, I might add, Robert Burke. And they took over these old railroad beds, and who nobody used or cared about particularly, and they cleared them. They filled in the big holes, and they set up some beautiful trails that
yes, they did.
Can be used for snowmobiles, fork trackers. I don't know if they allow them, but I think they do. And of course, hiking. They're wonderful hiking.
Wonderful hiking.
And there's...
And museums. You know, there's now a brochure in my rack about the museums in Chautauqua County.
How many are there?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't count them. I should have brought the brochure with me. But there are many, and there's something for everyone, for every interest. There's a museum these days.
Yeah, we just talked about
there's Lucille Ball, and there's
2 museums, one for ships, and Westfield has the museum, which incidentally has a vault in it that contained important papers and Doe, of course, by that gentleman whose house now sits up in the top of the hill. You know who that is?
Yep.
He was Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State, William Seward.
Yes.
And he lived in that house, and then they trucked it up the top of the hill, and it sits there quietly for sale now.
You know, there's a new bed and breakfast now.
Down in Barcelona?
Yes,
yeah,
reopened right across from the harbor
right
a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I was glad to see it reopened.
Yeah, well, it's been there for generations.
But that's another nice thing that we have.
Yeah, we have several big bed and B&Bs in Westfield too, I might add, and
we do.
Wonderful.
We do. They do a lovely job with their guests.
And so does the rest of the county. I mean, we got Dunkirk, Verdonia, we've got everywhere around. They have these beautiful
Even
B&Bs.
Sherman has come a long ways with their different tourist attractions, and of course Crossroads is on the way to Sherman. There's just so much to do for everyone.
Oh, wonderful! Sherman even had a topless bar.
A what?
Topless bar for a while.
Oh, did it really? I missed that one. I didn't know that. You would know. I wouldn't.
It's got something for everybody, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if it's still. I don't think it is, but.
My.
Wonderful things in Chautauqua County, but I think the swimming, the fishing, the hunting, and everything are probably paramount.
Yes,
and
they are.
hiking and the glory and beauty of the woods and the meadows that we have here, it's just incredible. And now, if somebody wanted to start a business, just what would you suggest they do? Say, I have no job. I know that the biggest industry here, fastest growing, is the tourism. What would you have them do?
I would have them look at their own life and see what it is they enjoy doing for a hobby. and then see how they could make that into a tourist attraction. And to do that, I would suggest they go to Small Business Development that runs out of JCC, Jamestown Community College, and get all the help for writing a business plan, figuring it out. They will help you through every facet of the whole process.
I've had them on, and they are terrific.
They are terrific people, and they don't charge you anything.
Right, and they help you find the funding.
It's free, and it fosters entrepreneurialism. And I'm thinking that, you know, it wouldn't matter if you like to pick up beach glass and make beach jewelry, or if you like to sew and make aprons, or maybe you want to make pickles, or like me, you make syrup, or who knows?
Yeah.
What it is that you like to do that you could turn into a money-making tourist attraction.
Well, when we had him in here, I forget his name who runs it, and he was very efficient, very professional, terrific, good ideas. One of the things I still remember is he said in a loud and clear voice, "Do not buy a restaurant."
That's probably
the
good
one
advice.
way you can lose money in Chautauqua County in this economy is to buy a restaurant.
Although there's a new one between Westfield and Ripley called Papa's that seems to be doing marvelously.
Well,
it's home cooking, and boy, I tell you, I've been there twice, and it's delicious food.
Well, that's an exception, I'll tell you.
And I think they'll make it fine, but it is a difficult business. You really have to have a niche market and something other than pizza and wings, because everybody does pizza.
Well, the first thing people cut out is going out to a nice restaurant when they run out of money, and everybody's running out of money here.
I know. Papa's is reasonably priced, too, I might add that for that one.
Yeah, well, the only way you're going to get it is they almost have to give the food away, and somehow you'll make it, maybe. If mom and dad have to work 18 hours a day, though.
But that's good advice. I think a restaurant is a poor way to go.
You're going to lose your butt. 90% of restaurants and good times go under.
Right,
and they tell you have to have 2 years worth of operations before you start, because you're going to lose money for sure the first year.
I was surprised to see a brochure. One of the young Smith boys has a guide service that he does, and there's a brochure out for his guide service, which would be a good thing to do.
It might be, yeah, sure.
Yep. I think bed and breakfast.
Especially if you're up in the woods up here.
Yep. I think bed and breakfasts are a good way to go. You can stay at home.
Bed and breakfast. Gail Ralph, they just sent me the message. They said, we're being rushed out of here.
Well, it was a pleasure being here, Reed.
It's wonderful chatting with you. I have a lot more to talk about. We'll run out of time. You want to close? I'll give you 30 seconds unmolested.
Well, come see me at the Sugar Shack and join all of the people that come from the different states and countries to visit me, and I will make sure you have all the tourist information you can use. We have many things in our own backyard that we miss because they're too local. And if you come, I'll give you brochures, tell you, show you, give you a map.
Sugar Shack is 1 mile to the east of Barcelona on Route 5.
That's right along the shores of Lake Erie.
Okay, Gail Black, thank you for coming and giving us some insight into what things go on here, how you operate, even the grapes. God bless them, the ones that have been disbudded, they're finished. I want to say thank you to some very special, super people who made this program possible. Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Bird, Randy Bird, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz occasionally, and John Hamels. You guys are terrific, and I want you to remember Father's Day is coming up. Don't get them a tie, whatever the heck, or whatever you buy them, or a tool. All right, guys. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.